Okay, unfasten your seatbelts and get ready for this once-in-a-lifetime experience. Amazingly repurposed Boeing 727 Advanced, known as the Super 27, and we are going to be flying zero-G parabolas out of Fort Lauderdale. Join me for this exciting ride as we go through everything and in zero-G, the weightlessness of zero-G. I'm very pleased to announce also that this is the first time anyone will be doing this on YouTube in recent years, that is, anyway. And I'm quite pleased with myself. I'm sure that all the other simmers, having seen my video, will be startled, taken on the back foot. Why didn't I think of this before? Right. Let us get right to it. And we are going to go through the flows very quick yet thoroughly and intuitively. So, let us get started at once. So the battery voltage is checked and within usable range. The external power is also checked and within usable range. So we can now connect the external power to the sync bus as so and power the essential bus. There we go, everything comes to life. Let's put the nav lights on like so. And let us very quickly proceed with our cockpit flows. We can put our packs on also. Help our nervous passengers get cool. So the external power is checked. The essential transformer rectifiers, they're checked. Galley power is on. The bus tie breakers, they're all closed. The control breakers, they're tripped so that they come on, hopefully. Let's do our forward and aft fuel boost pump check. So starting with the forward boost pumps, like so. Waiting for the low pressure lights to go out, they have. And the aft boost pump, the low pressure lights stay on, verifying the integrity of the one-way check valve. Now with the aft boost pumps. There we go. The lights, they have gone off, so it's all checked. Okay, now very quickly checking the battery operated crossfeeds and transit valves and the fuel shutoff valves, all battery operated. And configured for a tank to engine start, like so. Hydraulic system A, engine driven pumps, they are on. Hydraulic system B, electric pump 1 is being checked now. The ground interconnect valve is being checked as well. And now we'll check out system B. And the standby hydraulic system caution lights. Also check the overheat light over here. Now coming over here, we'll check the start valve open, mode indicators, overheat as well. The test all checks out. Passenger oxygen is norm. Auto pack trip set to normal. It'll automatically, cut out. It'll automatically go back to normal once the flaps are retracted. Get the booster gasper fan on. The cooling doors are open. Packs are on. The trip-off lights have been checked. Engine 2's APU bleed has been set to open. Very essential for engine start. Ductor overheat lights have been checked. Cockpit temperatures in auto. Now time for our pressurization. Check the auto fail status, the standby which automatically takes over. I also want to check the full travel of the outflow valve in manual AC, okay, because it's more responsive than DC. And set it back to auto. Okay, flight altitude is 26,000 feet, but I'm going to select 35,000 feet because we're going to be doing our parabolas. And standby system, cabin altitude, and should be set to, let's see, 5,600, like so. And vertical speed index to normal. Okay, all checked. Status lights are checked. Lighting, we don't actually need to do much lighting. CSD oil cooler lights have been checked. Fail lights have been checked. Let us, without further ado, get the APU started. It takes a little bit of time to spool up. First thing we need to do is test the APU fire system before we are allowed to even start the APU. There we go, and now we can start it. So hold it in the start position, let it spool up a bit, and then just let it do its thing. Okay, leading edge annunciator lights have been checked, and the fuel dump system is also closed and checked. Okay, very quick proceeding with our overhead flows. The stall warning has been checked, the flight recorder has been checked, all the hydraulic shut-off valves for the elevators, ailerons have all been checked. Cargo suppression system has been checked, the gyros, the compass, the nav, they're all set to the auto normal position. Auto brakes are disarmed for the time being. Emergency lights will arm those. Without further ado, and just proceeding with the overhead flows. Window heats, they're checked and they're working. Overheat test is successful. Anti-ice caution and mode indicator warnings will just check now. Get the no smoking and seatbelt signs on. Test the CVR. Test the pitot heats. Pitot heats over here. They all work. Dome lights and all that we don't actually need. Let's get a beacon on also, because we're going to be proceeding to engine start very soon. Okay, checking the flight mode annunciators. As so, it all checks out. Our altimeter is just going to be 29902. Altitude select, let's leave that at 10,000 feet. Our runaway heading is 97, let us set it at that. Taking off with flaps 5. So V1 of 120, rotate 120, and V2 132. So V2 plus 10 of 142. Like so, has been bugged in. And our trim, stab trim for takeoff, 3.18. I can set that now because it's electrically powered. There we go, parking brake is set to park. Just checking the rest of the caution lights.
Miami INTL information Yankee. 1300 Zulu weather.
Yeah, altimeter is 2992. And now let us quickly proceed on. We've checked the markers over here. Just checking the stab outer trim lights, the rest of the caution lights. The flight mode annunciator on the other side. MDA, decision height. And I think everything checks out. Let's also do our ground proximity test. And on the glacier, let's do our fire test.
Wind shear. Terrain. Airspeed low. Sink rate. Pull up. Terrain. Pull up.
Okay, it all checks out. The field for the APU is closed.
Too low. Gear.
The amps
Too low. Flat.
load on the APU is less than 165 amps, so we are set to close it. And also just want to check out the APU output before I start.
30.
Yep, it all checks out, so we can now close the APU.
500.
The APU is now powering the sync bus and has tripped off the external power, so we can also set our essential bus over to APU. There we go. We're all set and checked. Okay, just a cursory little scan. Obviously the packs, they need to be off for engine start. We've already gone through the flight engineers panel. So without further ado, let us start our engines. Before we do so, actually, I just want to... I kind of forgot that we have an FMC. So I just want to add in some waypoints very quickly. So the flight plan, we're taking off from Fort Lauderdale, as so, and doing a closed circuit as well. Flight number, let's say 727. And let us initialize our flight plan. So departure, runway 10 left, following the Be Nice SID, selecting our transition, over to flight plan. Okay, runway 10 right has been selected, ILS, and now let's just go to our legs page, clear out any flight plan discontinuities that are there, and execute them. Our data is now set, and we can now go about starting the engine. It's a slight detour, but we got there in the end. Okay, let's call for the pushback. So go to ground handling window and release our parking brake.
Push cart on the way.
Let's go push back straight. Okay, just checking air pressure for engine start. Yep, all checks out. Ready to start the engines. Let's begin. Number 3. And oh yes, one small little detour. We need to have at least, let's put the aft boost pumps on.
Here we go.
We don't put all of them on. We want to minimize electrical drain. We'll just put the aft ones on for the time being. And also let's get our electric system B powered up. Okay, fuel on.
Alright, see you next time.
Okay, number 3 is running. Let's very quickly proceed to number 1, sorry. That's the official start sequence. And let's do our flight control check. Okay, 20% N2, the fuel is on. Okay, number 2 is running. We can now put all our boost pumps on as well to ensure adequate fuel flow. Fuel flow is checked. And finally, the main part. So, go to sync our generators. So, going over to Gen 1. It's all to the frequency. 115 volts, 400 hertz. Close it. Now Gen 2. There we go, lights are flashing, close, and now finally Gen 3. There we go, Gen 3. And we'll set our essential power to Gen 3 because Gen 1 and Gen 2 power TR1 and TR2. Also standard is to set this at Gen 3, set our DC meter to TR1, transformer rectifier 1. And we are all set and checked. We can now proceed for APU shutdown. There we go. Now the APU will slowly start to shut down. Let's get the packs back on and shut the APU stroke engine to bleed like so. Okay, all good. Let's start moving. Our runway's on, off lights on as well, and our landing lights as well. Let's complete everything. Our takeoff data, we've already discussed that, and our EPR is 2.15. For setting the EPR limits, 2.15 was our agreed takeoff EPR. So we'll set all 3. Just a cursory glance, checking everything's okay. Our CSD oil temperature lights and our rise is not within the caution range. We are all ready. And also one last thing before we take off, we need to set our pressurization to flight. Now the outflow valve will start to close and will pressurize the aircraft to approximately 200 feet below sea level. Just for clarification also, I'm going to set my thrust reduction altitude at 1500 feet and our acceleration altitude at 3000 feet. Okay, ready for the takeoff. One hand on the throttles. Start spooling up. Stable. Set takeoff thrust.
$80 knots. P1. Rotate.
Rotate. Okay, positive rate, gear up. Okay, we've passed 1500 feet. Let's set our climb thrust. Let's set EPR 2.0. Let's get the landing lights off, improve our performance a little bit. Okay, coming up on 3000 feet, we can now accelerate away. So let's set our speed bug to 250 knots. And let's start getting our flaps out. Okay, let's engage the automatics. So get the autopilot on and let's go to auxiliary nav. Also IAS hold. We'll now pitch to maintain our speed. Let's get the fasten seatbelt signs off. I mean, no smoking should always be on nowadays. Okay, passing 10,000 feet. Let's now start to level off and increase our speed. Let's say to a climb speed of 300 knots. You can see the little G meter I have over here on the top left. I made that myself using data reps, which was actually how I managed to do my aeronautical engineering degree and pass with first class honors, if I may add. Okay, so just a little cursory glance at the flight engineer's deck. Just checking our 3 generators are running as intended. Of course, the forward boost pumps are going to be complaining because we're flying at higher levels of pitch. Incidence, that is. Also just checking our pressurization is pressurizing normally. It is. Our differential pressure has risen and our cabin altitude is also slowly climbing. The packs, they are on. And also upon reaching 10,000 feet, let's put the cooling doors to about 50%. Okay, let's set our altitude reminder then to 24,000 feet. That's where we are going to be doing our 0G. Let's increase our climb thrust to EPR 2.0 and let's get there a bit faster. You're lucky to be seeing this live stream and not having to pay $8,000 to actually do this in real life. So let's speed up time a little bit and get there sooner. Then we can start doing our parabolas. Okay, the landing gear obviously will put in neutral. Oops, I busted our altitude. I should have armed altitude select. My bad. So let us now begin our 0G. So I'm going to disconnect the autopilot and we're going to briefly discuss what we are going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase to near full power, climb at about 40 degrees, nose up attitude, 50 actually, and then at the pushover around 30,000 feet, I'll slowly bring the nose down and retard power. On the real aircraft, they would keep engine number 2 at about 40%, I'm thinking. I think I'll do that if I can, although I don't have custom bindings, that's a problem. Okay, ready for the first parabola. Okay, speed's coming down to 140 knots. Push over for 0G. Retard the power. There we go, 0G. Okay, slowly pull out of the dive. And let us get ourselves established at 24,000 feet again. Anyway, we got to turn over to our next waypoint now if we are to continue. And after that, we will fly the second parabola. Okay, we're established on our path. Time for the second parabola. Okay, speed's coming down. Time for 0G. There we go. Nearly there. Increase the steepness. There we are, 0G. And let's gently pull over. At 24,000 feet. Let us get established on our LNAV path once again before we do any more parameters. Let's just check our fuel pumps. I'm quite surprised actually the low pressure lights didn't come on. They normally complain a lot when flying at elevated angles of attack. Oh my probe heaters and we'll put on. There we go. Okay, getting ready for the third parabola. Let's apply our climb thrust again. And begin the pitch up. Okay, speed's coming down. Let's begin the pushover to 0G. There we go, 0G. Or just about. There we go, perfect 0G. Let's see how many seconds I can hold it. We've gone into negative G. Okay, let's pull out. There we are established at 24,000 feet again. And we are stable. I wonder if the passengers in the back enjoyed that. Okay, so now I'm going to do another parabola and we are going to count in how many seconds we were able to hold the 0G. So let us begin. Set our climb thrust again. And this time I'm going to keep power on number 2. Okay, beginning the pushover to 0G. We're at 0G now. Perfect 0G. The moment I go into full 0G, the gauge disappears, which tells me that I'm doing it right. Okay, begin the pull out. And establish stable conditions. So as you can see, I am getting better at this. The 727 actually offers significant advantages with regards to 0G compared to the Airbus A310, which actually needs a third pilot just to monitor the throttles. Simply because any asymmetric thrust at 0G can ruin the experience, literally. Okay, next fourth parabola. I mean, must be fifth now. I don't know. Okay, beginning the pushover to 0G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, time to pull out. Okay, we're stable, and let us just get ourselves stabilized. Just turning on to our next waypoint. How's everything doing in the back here? Just checking. Okay, time for the next parabola. Let our speed build a bit, then I will start the maneuver. You can see the G meter as I pull up and down slightly. You can see it fluctuating around the 1 G mark. Okay, speed's building up. Time for the next round. Okay, speed's coming back. Time for the pushover to 0 G. Okay, now gently pulling back. Okay, time for the next parabola. Let our speed build up a little bit. And let's try and ascend higher this time. So I'm going to go right over to the barber pole this time and then do the pull-up. Commanding full thrust this time. Okay, let us begin. $60, nose up. Speed's coming back. Let's begin the pushover. Okay, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. Slowly doing it, we don't want to overstress. Okay, back at 24,000 feet. And we're stable. Let us do one more 0G parabola before we call it a day. Let us begin. Pitch to 60 degrees nose up. Speed's coming back down. Retard the power, and let's increase power to the number 2. Okay, 0G. Slowly begin the pull out. And that's all for the 0G exercise today. So now let's get landing.
One thousand.
We're a little bit high. We'll just adjust for that.
500. 400. 300. Sink rate. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And we made it. We now have successfully completed the zero-G cycle. Just check out the landing.